Whatever Trump says, I believe the exact opposite. So when he says we don't need anything Canada has, that's bullshit. If Canada ever decided to close its doors, the whole world would feel it within weeks. Let's start with food. Potash is one of the main ingredients in fertilizer. Without it, crop yields around the world would collapse. Canada holds the largest potash reserves in the world. It controls about 1/3 of the world's potash supply. If Canada stopped digging potash tomorrow, the price of food everywhere would go up within weeks. Then there's uranium. The world is racing to expand nuclear energy to fight climate change, and nuclear plants run on uranium. Canada ranks second among uranium producers in the world and has some of the richest deposits ever discovered, with grades that are dozens of times higher than those found anywhere else. So many of the reactors that are lighting up cities around the world are running on Canadian fuel. Then there's water. As the planet heats up and rivers dry up, fresh water is becoming one of the most valuable substances. And Canada holds around 20% of all the fresh water in the world. While countries are heading towards a future of drought and water wars, Canada is sitting on an ocean of the one thing everyone will be desperate for in the future. Then there's oil. Canada's oil reserves are the third largest in the world at 170 billion barrels, behind only Venezuela and Saudi Arabia. It is also one of the largest producers of gold, nickel, and the rare metals that go into your phone, your laptop, and the batteries of electric cars. Then there's the timber. Nearly 40% of the planet's forests that are certified as sustainable are Canadian. That means when Canada cuts down trees for timber, paper, or fuel, it is ensuring that the forests will remain ecologically diverse for future generations. So Canada has food, fuel, water, metals, timber, and power. Canada isn't just rich in one thing. It's rich in nearly everything the modern world can't survive without. In terms of resources, Canada is one of the most powerful nations that has ever existed. So when Trump says we don't need anything Canada has, then why does the idiot continue to wish we were the 51st state? Let me know what you think over on Substack. The link is in my bio.
Okay, at this point, we now know Trump is intentionally trying to destroy our economy. He only has a couple years left. He is literally going to leave office with a destroyed economy, and he's doing it on purpose. Look at what he's doing with Canada. He has imposed new tariffs, 50% tariffs. They were negotiating up until last night, but it just came out of nowhere. Trump came back in, a couple weeks back and just said, we're hitting Canada with 50% tariffs. Now, let's be very clear about something. The Supreme Court said his tariffs were illegal, but Trump found a loophole that said that if countries discriminated against the United States by not buying certain goods as a punishment, which Canada was doing because we still had other tariffs on their goods and services. But here's the deal. The Supreme Court said it was illegal, and the United States paid back billions of dollars to the companies like Walmart, Home Depot, Costco. They all got their money back that they had paid out in tariffs. Okay? Well, guess what? All these companies are going to have to start paying the tariffs again. And Trump can't lie this time and say, oh no, the other country pays the tariffs. Because if the other country paid the tariffs, then why were you refunding all the tariff money after they were found to be illegal back to the big companies here in the US, you buffoon? So now he can't wriggle out of that one, okay? 50% tariff on goods coming in from Canada, like aluminum and steel, okay? The consumer will pay that. You, the United States consumer, will pay that tariff. Period. End of story. Again, if Walmart's buying stuff from Canada, they've got to pay the tariff at the border before they get their hands on those goods, and they will pass that cost onto the consumer. So once again, Trump is completely effing over the United States, as we approach the midterms in November. Good luck with that, Republicans. You are going to be smeared all up and down every street in our country because we are done with the Republican way. This is not a game anymore. This is not funny. This shows absolutely nothing but reckless behavior from Trump, his administration, and the Republicans in Congress.
Let's talk about potash. In amongst Donald Trump's will they, won't they on tariffs is, of course, a conversation around the impact of Canadian oil in the United States. And while Canadian oil is by far our most lucrative export, potash, beyond being fun to say, might just be our most important export. So what is potash? Well, essentially it's a fertilizer that contains potassium. Plants need three minerals to grow: phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen. And elemental potassium is rare to find in nature because it reacts violently with water. So potash provides a stable way of exporting and distributing potassium to plants. Canada is by far the world's largest producer and exporter of potash. For example, in 2023, the United States produced 400,000 metric tons of potash. It's pretty good. In that same year, Canada produced 24.6 million metric tons, so it's not close. The United States simply cannot replace Canadian potash, not domestically and not internationally through trade. And while cutting off Canadian oil will likely cause energy insecurity and economic issues, cutting off Canadian potash will make it difficult for farmers to grow anything and more expensive for them to do so, while they're working with already very slim margins. But hey, if these tariffs result in energy and food insecurity, it's probably DEI's fault.
The case of Donald Trump and the Canadian president is the case of when you're going to war, you check the pros and the cons. You check how it's going to affect you negatively and whether you will benefit in that said war that you are about to embark on. If you know that it's not going to affect you, maybe negatively, you can go ahead. But if it's going to affect you in a positive way, you will rather back off. Now, there are some products that American cannot do without. They get most of the supplies from Canada, and the question I asked was Trump aware before he even took that decision of bringing 50% tariff on the goods and services in Canada? Now, let's look at this. I'll be reading out with my device here, and it goes like this. Canada-US trade war has a hidden twist, and it sits inside Trump's own tariff list. When the Section 338 tariff takes effect on August 19th, a 50% duty on roughly $20 billion of Canada products. Washington quietly left four things off the list: energy, potash, fish, and critical minerals. That is not generosity. It is because the US economy cannot do without them. They cannot do without them. They can't do without potash. They cannot do without energy. They cannot do without fish and some minerals. That is the reason it was left behind. But you think leaving it behind will make the Canadian president to back off easily? He's not, how will I put it, an easy meat to chew. So Trump felt like he can override anybody involved and get whatever he wants, forgetting the people involved or the person involved. Keep watching, guys. I'll still come back with my commentaries.
Doug Ford needs to cool his jets and mind his own business. Saskatchewan and Alberta should stop our exports to the United States, potash and oil and gas. Okay, yeah, good. We'll do that. And then the states like Danielle Smith shuts down Line 5 and Toronto has no more avgas, diesel, gasoline. Good. Piss on you. I remember when I was a kid when Pierre Elliott Trudeau was in power and my dad used to say, let the East freeze to death in the dark. Piss on him. Well, there you go. Piss on you, Doug Ford. Doug Ford needs to cool his jets and mind his own business. Saskatchewan and Alberta should stop our exports to the United States, potash and oil and gas. Okay, yeah, good. We'll do that. And then the states like Danielle Smith shuts down Line 5 and Toronto has no more avgas, diesel, gasoline. Good. Piss on you. I remember when I was a kid when Pierre Elliott Trudeau was in power and my dad used to say, let the East freeze to death in the dark. Piss on him. Well, there you go. Piss on you, Doug Ford. Doug Ford needs to cool his jets and mind his own business. Saskatchewan and Alberta should stop our exports to the United States, potash and oil and gas. Okay, yeah, good. We'll do that. And then the states like Danielle Smith shuts down Line 5 and Toronto has no more avgas, diesel, gasoline. Good. Piss on you. I remember when I was a kid when Pierre Elliott Trudeau was in power and my dad used to say, let the East freeze to death in the dark. Piss on him. Well, there you go. Piss on you, Doug Ford. Doug Ford needs to cool his jets and mind his own business. Saskatchewan and Alberta should stop our exports to the United States, potash and oil and gas. Okay, yeah, good. We'll do that. And then the states like Danielle Smith shuts down Line 5 and Toronto has no more avgas, diesel, gasoline. Good. Piss on you. I remember when I was a kid when Pierre Elliott Trudeau was in power and my dad used to say, let the East freeze to death in the dark. Piss on him. Well, there you go. Piss on you, Doug Ford. Doug Ford needs to cool his jets and mind his own business. Saskatchewan and Alberta should stop our exports to the United States, potash and oil and gas. Okay, yeah, good. We'll do that. And then the states like Danielle Smith shuts down Line 5 and Toronto has no more avgas, diesel, gasoline. Good. Piss on you.
Now, these four products are, these exemptions are Canada's real leverage. Those exemptions are Canada's real leverage. In this explainer, it is Americans' blind spot and what Canada could actually do with it. Panelists spell it out, saying Canada has a list and that critical mineral, energy and potash are the buttons it can push. We look at how Canada retaliates smart, targeting products like bourbon and goods from districts tied to powerful US politicians. So the pain is felt where it matters. Like I do say in my previous video, that what Donald Trump did is actually not just affecting the poor masses, it's also affecting the rich. Like everybody's hearing, everybody's is being felt, everybody's feeling it. There are some products here that even the poor have not even thought of handling. They've not even thought of them being in charge, but the rich are the ones that have been in charge that product for years. Now, what will become of those rich politicians? They will definitely be affected. So this particular administration is affecting both the poor, the rich, and the average. I keep saying that. I don't know what about you.
Huge news. We were supposed to get a 50% tariff here in Canada due to Trump and Canada and US negotiations. The deal is done. No 50% tariff.
Special credit to all the original owners of the videos used in the creation of this video. It is only for analysis and for educational purposes. Do all to like this video, share to your friends and loved ones. And if you have watched up to this point, this is me thanking you. This is me appreciating you. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching up to this point. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. Do all to share out to your friends and loved ones and keep updated. Watch out whenever we drop any video. See you guys in the next video. Till then, bye.